Well, that was a movie.
Ooh. Oh my God. Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm giving my first thoughts on Smile. And man, I can't remember the last time I left a theater with anxiety. I don't want to say that this is the scariest movie I've ever seen or the best horror movie I've ever seen. I've definitely seen better and recently, but I can't remember the last time a movie made me this anxious. Like, to me, this rivals on anxiety levels here The Exorcist, which I don't know if you remember me talking about that. It was a few years ago. I said I watched it, I enjoyed it, and said I never want to see that again. And this, I'll probably end up watching it again, but like, not right away. Not right away. Okay, so Smile, what is it? In case you haven't seen the trailers or know anything about it, it is a film by the first-time writer-director Parker Finn, following a woman who is a psychiatrist in a hospital, an emergency room psychiatrist who has to deal with patients that are going through severe and intense trauma and psychiatric issues. She sees one of her patients kill herself right in front of her and then begins to deal with the repercussions of that. Supposedly there is some sort of being that possesses people and can only transfer away from that person when they kill themselves or kill somebody else. And so the person that then sees that suicide then takes on that evil spirit and then must kill themselves to get rid of the spirit. And like goosebumps, jump scares. Okay, so going back to the trailer, they show a really great jump scare in the trailer, and I really wish they didn't. And I'm not going to use that clip when I use the clips from the trailer in this video, because if you haven't seen the trailer, I don't want you to see that jump scare until you see it in the movie, because the jump scare is the main reason I decided I want to see this movie. But now having seen it, it lessens the impact so much in the movie, and it's really disappointing because it's such a clever and creative jump scare, and this movie has plenty, but that one I just, it was original and I loved it. So this movie, I know I'm a little bit scatterbrained to begin with. Let me just take a deep breath and start over. So yeah, this movie falls in the vein of a lot of the allegorical horror movies of late, a la Antlers, Night House, stuff like that. It felt a lot like that. I won't say that it's as cleverly written as those. To say that this was thinly veiled is giving it some extra credit, because this movie is very obviously about trauma and the depression that comes with it, and I don't think you can even say that's an allegory at this point, because it's so obvious that it's like, it's not really an allegory. It's just like, this is kind of what it's like, except for we're gonna throw in the possibility of an evil spirit here. I really enjoyed that idea. I enjoyed that plot. I will say though that the movie does kind of falter a little bit. I won't say it gets bad in the third act, but there was elements of the third act that I really didn't like, because depression is often referred to as the unseen killer, or trauma is referred to that as well, PTSD. You see very little of what this thing is until the third act, and I wish we never really got to see it. I'm not saying it was bad, but I'm saying it's better the less we saw, in my mind at least. I really kind of wished it never showed it at all, frankly, except for through that representation of other people being creepy and smiling at you. By the way, have you seen the marketing for this movie? Because they had people go to baseball games and sit directly behind the batter and just sit there smiling at the camera. Like, that's great marketing. I tweeted about this. I said, this is the best marketing a movie has had since freaking Godzilla in '98, when they said, oh, his foot is as big as his bus, his head is as big as his billboard. Like, that was great, by the way. This was phenomenal. I love that they were marketing this movie like that. So, A+ on that. So I did say, I compared it to Night House and Antlers. Why isn't it as good as those? I did enjoy this movie a lot. It might be my favorite horror movie of the year so far, honestly. But I can't say it's as good as Antlers or Night House, because there were some issues. I really enjoyed the suspense in this movie. The anxiety that it induced in me, like I said, pretty much uncomparable for the past few years. Like, it just, like, I still feel adrenaline. Like, I walked out of the theater nervously laughing, first of all. Like, I was just like, okay. A lot of everybody. It was actually a fairly packed theater, and pretty much everybody was kind of walking out either dead silent or like, and yeah, the walk across the parking lot, because I park in a secluded corner of the parking lot for filming, was like, I was checking over my shoulder and shit. Like, I don't do that at horror movies, and this made me feel that. So that's beautiful. Love that. But the most important thing in creating suspense and inducing anxiety is never breaking the mood, never letting you escape from the movie, making you take a step back and go, oh, that was weird, or that was awkward, or whatever. And I love how this movie was written from a story perspective, but the dialogue is shit. It honestly is. There's a lot of these scenes that are just between a couple of characters talking about events, and it's either heavy-handed when they're like really laying into the allegory and over-explaining things, or just having conversations that are attempting to be, haha, quirky, realistic, like this is how people talk, right? And it's just bad. And so I didn't really like any of the dialogue at all in this movie. Frankly, I thought all of it was bad. And part of that also falls onto the actors. The cast is very weak. This movie is very apparently low budget. Like, you can tell clearly, and it's not just the actors, because they have a couple of like B-rate actors that you've seen before and you recognize, like the one doctor. And then the main character isn't bad. She's pretty good, but a lot of the rest of the cast is pretty bad at times. And so it's not just that though. It's like you can tell from like the camera quality, and maybe it's not just the camera quality, maybe it's like this feel that you can just feel the cheapness of the movie. And I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's just like the oversaturation that I've talked about in other movies, where it feels wrong. Like, it doesn't feel like a movie. It feels kind of like a commercial or something, where it's just like everything's just a little bit too colorful. Like, we should have reeled that back in just a little bit. And so this movie overall just felt very cheap. The special effects are okay, but inconsistent. Also, there's just continuity errors and just weird little like dub over moments that are pretty obvious. Like, you see it in the trailer, one of the people kills himself. This is a small spoiler if you haven't seen the trailer, I'm sorry, but kills himself with a piece of glass. They start here and cut down, and in the trailer they cut away, but then you see them on a gurney with a sheet over them, and you can see the blood marking like a smile, a big bloody smile on their face. But then in the movie, and they do show that clip so that the blood's there, but in the movie, when she's cutting herself, she starts here and then comes down and across her neck like that, which makes a lot more sense for killing you. If you just did that, it wouldn't kill you. It'd be very painful, but you wouldn't die. So weird continuity errors like that, just a lot of weird, quirky, just doesn't quite work moments in this movie. And so it kind of pulls you back out of it. Like I said, the third act just kind of lost me. It was the lowest quality of the movie. Now, it got me back, which is impressive. It's harder to get you back after losing you than it is to keep you the whole time. So I give it props for that. It did a great job at bringing me back in, but it did lose me a couple times. So that is the negatives. Back to the positives, because there's a lot. This movie had really clever writing from like a jump scare perspective, a scare in general perspective. The jump scares were grade A. You didn't always know where the plot was going, and it really just made you anxious. Like, I'm surprised I still have my thumb. I was chewing on it the whole time. Like, I think I enjoyed it. I think so. Did I hate it? I either hated it or enjoyed it. I can't quite tell. But yeah, no, I can't remember the last time I felt this anxious about a movie, so that's saying something for it. It wasn't the best written as far as, like I said, the allegory is a little too obvious at times, the dialogue is terrible. But it's like when you're critiquing a comedy and it's like, oh, the story didn't make sense. Oh, the acting was bad, but I laughed the whole time. It's the same thing with horror movies. It's like, there was some issues here, there's issues there, but I've never felt, or at least haven't in a long time, felt this anxious while watching a horror movie. So they were doing something right. And it wasn't just cheap jump scares with violins to make you go, ah! And so you think that you're scared. This wasn't making you think you were scared. It actually created an anxiety in me and had some really powerful and really original ways of doing that, whether with jump scares or just slow build moments. It was beautiful. Not every moment works perfectly, but once again, in a comedy, not every joke's going to land, but that doesn't mean it's not funny. And this movie was thrilling to me. I really was thrilled by this movie and enjoyed it a lot. I should get into spoilers. Okay, I'll get into spoilers, but just here's a wrap up. Anxiety-inducing. Okay. That's my review. I don't know what else to say about it. I enjoyed it a lot. What's its rating? I don't know. Maybe a 6.5, maybe a 7.5. I don't know. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It's just got some flaws in there that if you're a critic like me, you'll be bugged by it. But at the same time, you'll be so entertained, you'll be so thrilled, you kind of get over it. So that's what I did, at least. So yeah, I definitely do recommend going to see it. Maybe seeing it by yourself isn't the best idea, but I did it anyway. Anyway, all right, I'm going to get into spoilers now, but please don't forget to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. So, like I said, this is very obviously an allegory, barely an allegory, but an allegory for trauma and how to deal with it. And at first, I thought they were taking a really lame way out by, first of all, showing the monster. And maybe it's just because I had just seen Barbarian, but I'm like, I don't need another giant woman, you know, running around in a house, you know, like, I don't need that. But to me, this was actually less lame than that. I just scared the shit out of myself seeing my reflection in the mirror or the window. Shit. See, that's what I'm saying. It created an anxiety that I don't get like this about movies. So that's why I'm so excited about it. I'm smiling the whole time for a reason. Hey. Anyway, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just kind of there. Like I said, I wish they never showed it. Like, I liked when it was possessing people, and there was such beautiful moments, like with the therapist coming over and then calling. Oh, and equally, if not actually better, I loved the moment when the security people call and they're like, "Are you home alone?" And she goes, "Yeah." And they go, "Are you sure? Look behind you." I was like, oh my God, I love that. I love that. That's got me giddy even just thinking about it. There was so many clever horror moments in there that I was just like, man, this guy, he's got a career. Was it Parker Finn? This guy's got a career. Like, he's, I want to see whatever he's doing next. And yeah, okay, so the third act, showing the monster, wish they didn't do it. I wish that they didn't ever, you know how in the Night House, they never really show it. Like, it's always still part of the house or part of the people, and then at the end you see her dead husband and he's still possessing. Like, you never reveal the monster. It's always just the demons within. That's what this should have done, to me at least. I preferred that. Night House is such a good movie, by the way. And this doesn't do that. It's like, it shows and it reveals a monster, which isn't scary. It's just this giant woman. It's her mother grown up into a woman, and then gets a creepy face. It's like, it was weird. Kind of looked like the Babadook, but not as good. And yeah, so I wish they didn't do that because it took away from it a little bit to me. But it was orchestrated well enough that I forgave it. Because, like I said, when you think they're taking the easy way out and she sets the house on fire and runs away, I was like, that's lame. And then she goes to the apartment of her ex-boyfriend, and you're like, oh shit, it's not over. And either he's gonna kill her, or she's gonna kill him, or something's gonna happen. And that scene immediately was like, yeah, and I'm back in. And then, of course, they do that really well with the lights dimming down, and he goes, "You'll never be alone, I'll always be with you." That dialogue was good. Okay, so the creepy dialogue, good. I should say that. I should apologize when saying none of the dialogue was good. The creepy dialogue was good. The realistic, hey, we're just normal people talking dialogue, shit. Awful. But the creepy dialogue, very well done. And then you go back, and then she kills herself, and he sees it, so we're keeping the cycle going. God, it's depressing, but I prefer that to the easy way out, because, like, when dealing with this, you know, it's really a sensitive subject, because you're either trivializing somebody's mental health by saying, oh, here's an easy way out. It's kind of like the Logic song. It's like, hey, I don't want to kill myself anymore. You know, it's like, okay, that's not how it works. We can't just solve it in a scene. Or you're taking a very depressing way out. And that's why Night House is great, because they don't trivialize it. They show the importance of companionship, and it shows the weight of depression and wanting to kill yourself, because Rebecca Hall's character is trying to kill herself at the end of the movie, but she's saved by the people that care about her, and that's beautiful. This, instead of her being saved, she eventually kills herself, and so then passes that trauma on to her loved ones, and that is heavy. That's really depressing. That's really sad, and it's good. Like it's I get it, and I don't want to say like I enjoy it, but like, you know, it is a well-written ending and definitely better than The Easy Way Out. It's just, you know, Night House was able to have a more optimistic ending and do it well. This is an easier way to have a good ending, because it's hard to be optimistic in a horror movie and not be lame. And so I get that, but like there's just little things here on why this isn't as good as The Night House, but you know, it is its own movie, so just appreciate it for what it is. That ending is fucking brutal, dude. And so I appreciate it for what it is, but it is brutal. This whole movie is brutal and awfully depressing when you think about it, because it's just talking about how all your trauma, the only way to escape it is through breaking or killing yourself. Like, and I think in theory, you know, they could deal with it and could get out of it through dealing with your trauma and going through and confronting it. Like, they give that as a possibility, and then she loses the fight, which is depressing as fuck, but it's a good story. It is. God, the dead cat too. I saw that coming like a second before. Like when the kid goes to pick up the gift, I was like, oh shit, that's where we're going. Like, and that's good writing, because like this movie does a lot of that, where it's gonna like, it says something and you're like, why did they say that? That's got to come back later. But they bring it back later enough that you've kind of forgotten about it. Like the old house. Granted, that's not a big twist or anything, but like you don't really think about the fact that she still owns her parents' house or her mom's house or whatever, and then the cat goes missing and you kind of just stop thinking about it, because you're like, okay, the cat went missing, big deal, and then you're like, oh shit, that's where the cat is. So that's good writing. I liked the plot development aspect and the creepy stuff like that. It's just the human side of it kind of faltered for me, but I still enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, it might be the best horror movie of the year. I mean, okay, it depends on what you categorize Nope as, because Nope is definitely a better made movie. To me, it wasn't straight horror, it's just like an alien movie. Definitely has elements of horror in there, but this is more of like a traditional horror. Is Nope better than this? Yeah, probably. But to me, this is more of a horror movie than Nope is, and so to me, it's the best horror movie I've seen this year. Not that there have been a lot of great ones, you know, but what can you do? Another great shot, too, was... And there was a couple moments, if I'm being honest, I was just like, I'm gonna close my eyes, or like, ooh, that exit sign is really cool looking, you know, I'm just gonna look away for a minute. And one of those moments I really wanted to do it was when she's in bed alone because her fiance is sleeping on the couch because he thinks she's crazy and doesn't want to talk to her. By the way, the whole fiance character was poorly executed. I don't want to blame the actor. I don't want to blame just the writer. It was a joint effort there. It was just bad. But anyway, she's in the bedroom, and then the bathroom, she hears a noise, and it's not a jump scare. It's just you hear her asking for help, this girl, and she chooses, I don't want to see that right now. So she just rolls over, and the camera pans up, and you see the girl walking over asking for help, and that was good. It was a really good moment. I got a lot of anxiety out of that. Yep. I like this movie. Kinda wish I didn't see it. I would like to sleep tonight. I need sleep. I'm behind on sleep. I would like to sleep tonight. Go watch it if you don't like yourself and you don't want to sleep. This was such a disjointed review. I hope you guys liked it, though. I'm gonna go now. That's the end. But please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Thanks, guys. Bye. Swear to God, pulling out of the fucking parking lot, some girl in the car next to me was just staring at me with the creepiest fucking smile. I hate it here. I hate it.